Hey, my friends, the video you are about to watch was recorded on the morning of Saturday, February 21st. I recorded it as a live stream. I am now re uploading it so that you all can enjoy it. So I hope that you will. If you saw it before, why not watch it again? It only gets better with age. Or maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here and enjoy. Morning, everybody. Don't know how many people are going to be here. It's early. Well, I guess it's not that early, depending upon where you are. 9 o'clock, 9:15 Eastern time here on a Saturday morning. Haven't done live streaming at this time before, so I don't know how well attended this live stream will be. Also, I don't normally record under these circumstances. I'm on my laptop right now. Don't usually record on my laptop, so this is sort of a test to see how this goes. Let me know if there's any problems with the audio. If you all have any questions, now would be a good time. Here's the plan for this morning's live stream. I have no friggin' idea what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to leave it open to you all. If you have any questions, a lot going on in this country. I see we got people from Finland, UK. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Must be something watching the United States from afar. You're lucky that you're separated from us by an ocean. Wish I were at the moment. God, this fucking country is such a disaster. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I didn't know what to title this live stream, so I titled it, Are We Screwed? That's kind of how I'm feeling this morning. Don't know if we're screwed, but sort of feels like we're screwed sometimes. When isn't America screwed? You know, I feel I'm pretty. I don't know about you guys, but Can Jack Smith still hold Trump accountable after his term? No. Sorry. Jack Smith doesn't have any power anymore. Jack Smith, he was appointed special counsel. That's done. He's no longer special counsel, so he has no authority. I don't think he's not even in government anymore. I think he now has his own law firm, I believe. So no, Jack Smith can't do anything. Can any prosecutors do anything? Not for any of the crimes that Jack Smith had indicted him for. The statute of limitations on those things have run. So Trump has gotten away with his attempt to overthrow the republic thanks to the idiots in this country who voted to reelect him. Nothing we could do about that. The charges in the Mar-a-Lago case, nothing we could do about that. Statute of limitations. Unless there are crimes, and there may be, associated with the stolen documents that have a longer than 5-year statute of limitations, then it's possible. Don't know what the statute of limitations on treason is. Hopefully there is no statute of limitations. I've never handled a case where I was prosecuting someone for treason or defending someone accused of treason. So I've never actually had to look up the statute of limitations for treason. I would assume, but you know how making assumptions goes, but I would assume, given the seriousness of treason, that there would be no statute of limitations. I don't know. So maybe if there's any potential charges stemming from Mar-a-Lago and the stolen documents that for which a statute of limitations has not run, then he could conceivably be prosecuted for that. But if you do want to prosecute Donald Trump when he leaves office, as I do, the good news is he's committed a lot of crimes since then. So we don't have to go back and charge him with those things. There's plenty of new crimes he's committed, and many of them are not covered by the Supreme Court's immunity decision. So although Jack Smith can't hold him accountable, unless he gets appointed special counsel again, we can prosecute this piece of shit. Okay. Looking at questions here. Why did they wait 10 months to decide if the tariffs were legal, unconstitutional? I don't understand it. This is incredible. Good question. I don't know when the lawsuit was filed. You know, a lot of people mistakenly believe that the Supreme Court can just review things that the government does, review things that the president does, and can strike down things that are unconstitutional. That's not the way it works. The courts can't act on their own. There has to be a lawsuit filed. So something could be flagrantly unconstitutional or illegal, but unless a lawsuit to challenge that is filed by someone with standing to sue, courts can't do anything. So I don't know when the lawsuit was filed. What took a long time to me, what took the longest, first of all, why does it take a long time? Because everything in this fucking country, when you're going through the courts, takes a long time, especially at the federal level. Doesn't have to be that way. They don't have to move this slowly. You know, and we can change the rules of procedure to make these things go more quickly. But, you know, you file your lawsuit in the district court, then the case gets appealed. If it does, it gets appealed. It goes up to the circuit court, the appellate courts in this country. Oftentimes it's heard by a 3-judge panel. The losing party then can request a rehearing by the full court, what they refer to as en banc. So you actually can get the case heard twice at the circuit court level. Then you can appeal it to the Supreme Court. And if they take it, you know, they could take forever too. And that's what happened here. What took a really long time was the court rendering their decision. That took much longer than people had anticipated, which is why I thought that they were going to uphold his tariffs. I thought that they were bending over backwards, trying to come up with some bullshit justification for ruling in his favor. That's what I thought was taking so long. So I was a little surprised that they did the right thing here. Obviously, it was the right thing because this was a no-brainer in terms of the law and the Constitution. But why did it take so long? Welcome to our ridiculous system. It's heartbreaking what is happening in the USA. Yes. Scott Besson admitted there's no tariff money. It's all gone. I don't give a shit. The federal government, look, it all just goes into the Treasury, right? Whether it's tariff money or income tax money or whatever. Boy, my nose is really itchy today, so I don't like to be itching my nose so much on camera, but I got something going on here. Anyway, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, when the federal government brings money in, it just goes into the Treasury, so it doesn't matter. There's not like an account, like a tariff account. So Scott Besson is a lying sack of shit. Yes, that money it was all spent because we're running massive deficits. We don't have any money. We're borrowing money. What we take in, whether it's taxes, tariffs or income tax or whatever, that's not enough to fund the government. So any money we bring in is right out the door anyway. Okay, we're spending every fucking dime we bring in, and we're borrowing money. And Donald Trump's big, beautiful piece of shit bill just made it exponentially worse. So yeah, there is no money. He's telling the truth about that, but he's doing it in such a way as to be a lying sack of shit about it. Oh, we spent all that money. He wants you to think that the tariff money gets segregated and it goes into some tariff account. And sorry, it's not there anymore, so we can't give it back to you. That's bullshit. Okay, that money is owed. That money will be paid. It may take years because this is going to be litigated. I can't see Donald Trump just giving this money back, but legally, that money was illegally taken. Okay, what happens when the IRS illegally, takes too much money out of your paycheck or whatever, or you have your withholdings on your, on your paycheck all fucked up, and you actually send more money to the government through withholding than you should, and then you do your taxes in April, and you realize, holy shit, I overpaid my taxes. You get that money back because the government wasn't legally entitled to that money, so you get it back. If the government stole money from us. That's what happened here. Now, it stole money from us indirectly because you and I didn't pay the tariff to the federal government. We paid the tariff by by the higher prices we paid for things that had tariffs put on them. Now, there are businesses that directly paid the tariff. Those are the American importers. They're the ones who paid the tariff. And then, of course, they passed the tariff on to consumers in the price of their products. So we didn't pay anything directly. So you and I can't say exactly how much we're owed. And really, he's not going to cut us a check. And that's never going to happen. So I don't know how it is. I mean, Congress could pass a law that does send us all a check, right? That says, here's a formula to determine how much each American should get back from the tariffs that we got screwed out of, right? That we had to pay. And so, but it would require a law passed by Congress to give us money directly. The only people who will directly get this money back, and they will be the companies, the importers. So they're actually going to get a windfall, right? It's not their fault. They're playing by the rules, but they're the ones who paid the tariff, and they can show exactly how much tariff they paid, right? They're the ones who directly paid it to the federal government. The federal government's going to have to pay them back because before they got a dime from us, these importers, before they got a dime from us, they had to literally pay money to the federal government just to bring those products in from other countries. And then they had a choice. They can either eat the tariff and not pass it on to consumers, or they could pass on, raise the price of their goods to cover the cost of the tariffs, or they could do a little of both, eat some of the tariff. And a lot of importers did that. A lot of companies, they didn't raise their price completely to completely cover the cost of the tariff, because they still have the competition they have to worry about. And so they might play with the margins and say, you know what, I paid this much in the tariffs, but I can afford to eat some of those just so I don't lose market share to my competitors by having to raise my prices. So it's incredibly complicated, but the only people who directly paid the tariff are the importers. We didn't directly pay the tariff. So that money is going to be refunded one way or another. They're going to prevail. It's probably going to have to go back to the Supreme Court, and it might be 2 years from now before we figure out that, how that's going to happen. But if that does happen and they get all their money back, well, then they would have gotten their money back from the tariffs, and they would have made, they would have increased their prices. So they potentially are double dipping here, but it's not their fault. We're the ones getting screwed. That's how it always is. The regular American, the little guy, you and I, if you're not in the oligarch class, and most of us are not, you're getting fucked. That's what it's like to live in the United States now. This is an oligarchy. This is an increasingly fascist, authoritarian oligarchy. I've been thinking about the fact that, I think we can trace, if we're going to lose our country here, and, I'm optimistic that we won't, that we'll turn back this fascist authoritarianism of the Trump administration. What comes after him, I don't know how successful we'll be, because this fascist cult is still going to remain. But I think we can, if we lose our country, I think it could be traced directly to, and I've been thinking about this more and more, the Citizens United case. That was the moment in time when this country was changed fundamentally from a democratic republic to an oligarchy. I've seen some data recently about the amount of money pouring into the system from billionaires, and it's steady and relatively low until the Citizens United case, and then boom, just goes through the roof. And this is how our laws are rigged to benefit this small class of billionaires. This is why more and more wealth is getting concentrated in the top 1%. It's because this entire country is being rigged in their favor. And they have a president now who is doing their bidding. And anyway, yeah, that's why I'm like, I titled this live stream Are we screwed? I don't know what the answer to that is in the long run. And I vacillate back and forth from feeling super optimistic. Well, I don't know about super optimistic, cautiously optimistic, to then sometimes feeling sort of pessimistic. And my pessimism comes from the fact, look, we could turn this all around today. The solutions to this are very easy. We have all the systems in place we need. We have all the laws, and we have the constitutional provisions we need to solve this problem now. We could solve the problem of Trump like this. He could be impeached and removed from office. We can amend the Constitution to overturn the Citizens United case. We could do everything we need to under our current laws and constitutional system to fix all these problems right now. It's not that we can't. It's not that our system is fundamentally broken to the point that we can't do anything about it. We can. The framers of the Constitution gave us all the tools to protect ourselves against this and to solve these problems. But they also said at the time, look, this all depends on the people. If the people become so corrupted that they don't care about preserving their republic anymore, then there's nothing that's going to preserve it. And that's what I worry about. Are we outnumbered by corrupt people, by stupid people, by people who have no fucking idea what's going on in this country or couldn't care less, or are cheerleading fascism? I don't know. That's where my pessimism stems from. It comes from this idea that I don't know if we're outnumbered. Let's face it, if more people were on our side demanding solutions to all of this, demanding Trump be removed from office, demanding amendments to our Constitution to fix some of these problems, then they'd be fixed. But there's not enough people demanding it. Look what's going on in this country. Other countries, if this was going on in their country, the capital would be overrun. This government would be overthrown by the people. But here in this country, hell, Netflix is working. You know? Just think of this. What was it, last week or 2 weekends ago with the Super Bowl? I don't even know. I can't even keep track of time anymore. Look at what this country gets exercised about. For 2 days following the Super Bowl, that's all people were talking about was the fucking halftime performance. We're ripping ourselves apart over a fucking show during a football game. All of it completely meaningless. The football game, completely fucking meaningless. It's like our single biggest cultural event in this country. It's a fucking football game. If you're into it, that's fine. I don't care. Not the point. You like watching football. You like the Super Bowl. That's fine. But what are we talking about here? It's a fucking football game. It's entertainment. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean a damn thing. It doesn't change anyone's life. It's nothing. It's no different than a fucking movie. It's entertainment. This country is tearing itself apart over the fucking musical act in the middle of a football game. Meanwhile, we've got masked agents of the government literally murdering people in the streets of this country. Kidnapping people off the street with no legal authority to do so, holding them without access to the courts. This is going on in our country right now. What do people care about? Fucking Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. This is where my pessimism comes from. More people, and this is indisputably true, more people care about the halftime show at a football game than they do about masked agents of our federal government murdering people. And that's a fact. That's where my pessimism comes in. How does a country like that survive? I don't know. Mark for the next AG. I would take that job. I would clean house. Oh, I wish I could be AG. Man, we'd prosecute some fuckers. Oh, I tell you what. Streaming services suck now. Shows are split among multiple streams. Can't argue with that. What else here? You're saying Kid Rock's lip sync gibberish is meaningless. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was saying. That was. Don't forget the jorts. He was. How old is Kid Rock? He's got to be like, he's in his 50s, right? And he's up there badly lip syncing in his fucking jean shorts. And is it just me, or does that guy look like he fucking smells like ass? I don't know. I just look at him and I think, we have a lot of technology in this country. I'm glad we don't have smell-o-vision. I was looking at Kid Rock and I'm like, God, you can almost smell him through the screen. Thank God you can't. What else here? Did I have anything to talk about? Here's when we're going to end the live stream, by the way. Still morning. I'm working on my second cup of coffee. And this live stream will end when the bladder is full. That's the cutoff. And it's a hard cutoff. Now, normally when I do these live streams, what the fuck did I just do to my screen there? All right. Normally when I do these live streams, I tend to run off at the mouth. Something else will pop into my head. And it takes me like 20 minutes to actually wrap the thing up. Not so today. When the bladder's full, I'm out of here. So now's the time to get your questions in because it's a countdown, but I don't know how long we have. He smells like flat beer and an ashtray. Yeah, he does. If the flat beer and the ashtray were in a bathroom, we're in a porta potty, then that's what Kid Rock looks like he smells like. You know who has a similar look? And when I see this guy, I think that the sort of same thing, like, God, he's got to fucking stink. Beyond Trump, who we know does stink. And as lazy as he is, and as much as probably is involved with changing an adult diaper, I imagine he doesn't have himself changed too often. So that probably contributes to the stink. And I can't imagine that he does the changing himself. I wonder which staffers have that job of changing Trump's diaper. Ugh. Anyway, but aside from Trump, the other person who just looks like he smells like ass is Steve Bannon. I look at this guy, I'm like, oh my God. Almost want to vomit sometimes I see that guy. Hey there, New Zealand. Appreciate you joining me. What else? I got a freaking pinch in my back. I don't know why. Isn't that the beauty of getting old? You wake up with pains for no reason whatsoever. I got a pinched nerve in my back one time, like really bad, because I yawned. So what the fuck is with that? I was like, ugh, and then I was like, oh, motherfucker. Anyway, okay, let me see. I'm going to switch screens here. It should work fine, but I want to know if there's a problem. So I'm switching. I'm on a different screen now. So when I come back, you can tell me if there was any problem. I don't think you're seeing the screen right now. I am so technologically illiterate. So, it's all I'm trying to read while I'm talking here. That's not a good idea. This is all sort of an experiment for me. James Tallarico. I'm looking at the Drudge Report right now. James Tallarico, the rising Dem star Republicans don't want you to know about. Hey, I got a question. That's a good one. You guys here on the podcast, I tend to think that you guys are a more serious lot. By the way, I'm back. I changed my screen back. You guys didn't see the screen switch over at all, did you? Okay, good. Anyway, I consider you all to be, I have 3 different channels, right? I have the Romano Report, which is where I do my standard sort of reports on things. Usually my videos are like 15, 20 minutes long, sometimes closer to half an hour. Then I have Romano, where I tend to just put shorter stuff up, more news reaction kind of a thing, or just random thoughts I have during the day. I'll throw them up on Romano. And then I have this podcast channel, which I apologize, I haven't been recording as often as I had intended to. Trying to fix that. My schedule is just so crazy right now. Anyway, for those of you who are going to sit through and listen to like an hour, sometimes hour and a half or longer podcast or live stream with me, I would assume from that you guys are the more serious people. And the reason I say that as a setup to this next topic is that, the problem with talking about politics is that I'm talking about politics and people get so easily butthurt. If you say anything they disagree with, they get all fucking angry about it. And so many people, so damn unserious. So many people, if you say anything that they disagree with, that's it. I'm never watching you again. And they always got to they always have to make a point to tell you. It's not enough just to not watch you anymore. They got to tell you about it. You said something I disagree with. I'm never listening to you again. And what's funny too is sometimes they'll say, I've been listening to you for months, but that's it. You just said something I disagree with. I'm never listening to you again. Like, oh my God. Message for those people right here. Don't let the door hit you. My God, if you're that unfucking serious that you're listening to me for months, you love the show, but I say one thing you disagree with and you're going to leave. All right, don't let the door hit you, asshole. Anyway, that's the problem with politics, is the easily butthurt. And you can't have serious conversation with people like that. So there are certain things that I don't discuss on the Romano Report. Because I don't want to get caught up in that shit. But here, I feel like, you know what? You guys are a more serious group of people. So even if you disagree with something I say, you're big enough people. Anyway, that's a long fucking wind up. And since the clock is ticking on my bladder here, I better get to it. And that is James. His name's James, right? James Tallarico. Yeah, James Tallarico. He's much in the news right now because of the Stephen Colbert thing. But he's in a primary right now in Texas. And Texas, Texas is going to flip. I hope to God it's this year in the Senate race. But it's going to flip. Texas is not nearly the hardcore red state that its reputation would lead one to believe. I lived in Texas for a long time. I'm very familiar with Texas. It is not as solidly red as people think. There are many states in this country that are far more hardcore red MAGA than Texas. Texas is going to flip. It's a question of when. I hope it's this year. And I think they got a real shot. This is going to be a terrible midterm for Democrats. And especially if Republicans nominate Ken Paxton, who is a fucking criminal and he's batshit crazy. Like, he is just hardcore, insane MAGA. So if Republicans nominate him, and given the climate we're in right now, Democrats have a real shot, I think, at that seat. So the question is, to my mind, the only question is who is best positioned to win Texas in a general election on the Democrat side? Because they have a contested primary right now. I don't know how many candidates are in the race. The two big ones, and maybe they're the only candidates. I don't know. James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. And so where do you guys land on this? I don't live in Texas anymore, so I don't get a say. I don't get a vote over there. Thank God. But what do you guys think? And here's the thing. It doesn't matter who you like the best, at least as from my perspective. It's not about who you like the best. To me, it's who do you think's going to win? Who gives Democrats the best chance of winning? Because either one of these people would be many times better than either of the Republicans, whether it's Cornyn or crazy ass Paxton. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Whoever the Democrat is, that's the person who should win Texas. And so from that perspective, I'm fine with either one. Both of them would be great. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not an expert on either candidate, to be quite frank with you. I don't live in Texas, as I say. I haven't followed the race too closely. I'm just from a distance. But who do you think would be better to nominate? Because I think the answer is a no-brainer. And this goes to the part that will piss off some people. And I'll see it might piss off this Reginald Johnson guy. I think the no-brainer is Tallarico. And I'm not saying that Tallarico would be better in the Senate. As I say, I don't even really know much about these two candidates. But here's the reason. He's a white guy, and Jasmine Crockett is a black woman. And we're talking about Texas. That's it. That's the only reason. Because here's the thing that I don't get. In the last election, after Trump won, so many people said, what do you expect? This country is so sexist and racist. They're never going to vote for a black woman. Yes, exactly. That's a large part of the reason why Donald Trump won. Because this country is sexist and racist. And guess what? Texas is far more sexist and racist than a lot of states in this country. So just objectively speaking, based on that alone, white guy versus black woman, who do you think has a better chance of winning the Senate seat in Texas? I'm sorry, that's a no-brainer. And I'll be honest here too. Again, I'm not an expert on either one of these candidates, but from what I want to see Democrats do if they take back control of Congress, just from what I've heard from these two candidates, I think Jasmine Crockett would actually be better in the Senate than James Tallarico, because she seems to be like, I'm not putting up with this shit. Let's take these fuckers on kind of person. And that's what I want to see happen. These fuckers need to be held accountable. We need to see prosecutions. We need to see impeachments. We need to see conviction in the Senate. And just listening to Jasmine Crockett, she sounds like she's a kick-ass kind of person. So maybe she would be better in the Senate. I honestly don't know. I don't know enough about either one of these candidates. I'm just worried that we're talking about Texas here. And so many times Democrats thought they were going to win Texas. Remember Beto O'Rourke? They spent fucking tens of millions of dollars on that race. Nope. And I just worry, because again, I lived in Texas. Here's the thing. In order to win the state of Texas, you're going to have people who have voted Republican before vote for the Democrat. Okay? I can see Republicans who might, not happy with Trump, not happy with Republicans, but have always voted for Republicans, but are really not happy and are considering voting for Democrats. The Democrat candidate in the Senate election in Texas this year. But if it's Jasmine Crockett, they go, you know what? I really don't like Trump. Really don't like Republicans, but I just can't vote for a black woman. That's what I'm afraid of. Whereas if you gave them a white guy, they might go, you know what? Yeah, I'll vote for the white guy. And this is not a comment on either one of the candidates, who I told you I don't even know that much about. It's a comment on people in Texas and the kind of people we need to win that Senate race. Love Jasmine, but did you see how she said that the Colbert thing with Tallarico was a ruse? Nope, didn't. Jasmine Crockett, I am woman, hear me roar. Remember Colin Allred? Yep. There's another one we were supposed to have a good shot at. Anyway, that's my only thought on that. Again, it's not a comment on either Jasmine Crockett or James Tallarico. It's a comment on Republicans, and it's a comment on Texas. And you know what? Like I said, either one would be great. And I like both of them from what I've heard of them. And whichever one of them gets the nomination, I will support them 100% and hope that they get elected. I just want to, this friggin' election is too damn important. And the Senate, if Democrats win back the Senate, which God, I hope they do, because we have to fucking remove this piece of shit. We can't just impeach him. We have to remove him. We need the Senate. And we don't need 60 Democrats in the Senate. That's not going to happen anyway. You know, the last Senate impeachment trial was bipartisan. There were several Republicans who voted to remove Trump from office. There will be Republicans who vote to remove him. And after the midterms, if Republicans get their asses kicked, there might be more people willing to remove Trump, more Republicans willing to convict him in the Senate. Anyway, we need the Senate, and I just worry is will Tallarico have a better shot than Crockett, just because he's a white guy, she's a black woman, and there's a lot of fucking sexists and racists in this country, especially in Texas. And we need some of these Republicans who typically vote Republican but might be unhappy with Trump and Republicans. And I just think we need to give them a candidate that they could say, you know what, I'll vote for the Democrat this time. And I just worry that some of them are going to go, I just can't vote for the black woman. We saw a lot of that with Kamala Harris. That was a real thing. There were a lot of people, I heard it over and over again. Yeah, I don't like Trump, but I just can't vote for the black woman. They don't, you know, because we live in a country now where they don't even try to hide their sexism and their racism. They'll say it flat out. And how many, as many people who are willing to say that, yeah, I'm not voting for the black woman because, you know, she's black and she's a woman, so I'm not voting for her. There's plenty of those people who will tell you that. How many still are of that mind, but who won't say it? I think probably a lot. So that's my only thing. I just worry about that. But anyway, I love Jasmine. Can she run outside of Texas? If she moves. Behavioral sync, we're at Utopia March. Only thing was odd to me before she ran for Senate. Comments were always that she would run for president. Laugh out loud. Now for Senate. Anyway, any other questions? I didn't mean to spend so much time on the Texas Senate race. Let me see here. No. All right. TikTok. Got to hit the head here in a minute. Questions, people. Get them in. Let's go. Let me see if there's anything here. Scanning the news. Noam secretly plots new job to dodge impeachment. What the fuck is that about? Christie is considering leaving Donald Trump's cabinet in order to return to politics in her home state of South Dakota. Department of... Yeah, this is all about what job would she take? She was already governor. She said to be weighing up a challenge to Senator Mike Rounds. Oh, so Kristi Noem is thinking about leaving the Trump administration and running for Senate. I got news for you, Ice Barbie. You're never going to be president. Wow. Thank you, Rockin' Steady. That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. For all of those of you who have helped contribute financially to support this channel, by the way, let me just take this opportunity to thank you. It really means a lot. It's not easy being an independent creator. They don't make it easy for a reason. They don't want us out here. Anyway, Kristi Noem, this woman really, she thinks she's going to be president. She really does. And that's one of the reasons, you know, she has played up her role as DHS secretary so much, and why she's leaned into the cruelty, and why she plays dress up and all that shit, because she's playing for the Fox News audience. She knows. See, I've referred to the Republican primary for president as the Fox News primary. That's where you win. Used to be you won the nomination by campaigning in various states. Oh, you go to Iowa and you do the Iowa State Fair. And then as soon as the caucuses are done, you get on a plane and you hop over to New Hampshire and you go to the diners in New Hampshire. That you go and you talk to people at the diners. I'm sorry, but if I'm in a diner, the last thing I want showing up is a fucking presidential candidate. I'd be pissed off if I'm trying to eat my omelet and some fucking asshole running for president comes up and sticks their hand in my face to shake my hand, pretend they give a shit about me. I'm trying to eat my fucking omelet. I don't fucking care. Get out of my face. But that's what you do. And you hit all the diners in New Hampshire. I don't understand that. And politicians always tell you, oh, I'm listening to what the people say. No, you're not. It's so condescending and patronizing. You're pretending you're listening to what the people say. You're listening to what your pollsters are telling you. That's when you want to know what the people think, you're listening to pollsters, not some idiot in a diner. All right. That's not a statistical sample. All right. Just because you talk to a few people at a diner, that's not necessarily representative of what the people are thinking. You're listening to your pollsters and your focus groups. And I'm not knocking you. That's what I would be doing too. If I was running for president, maybe I would do the same stupid. No, I wouldn't. I couldn't do the. See, that's why I could never be a politician. I can't do the fake shit. If I was running and my advisors say, oh, you got to go to the diner, I'd say, no, I'm not going to the fucking diner. All right. I don't like the fake. I'm not even a small talk person. How can you run for president if you're not a small talk person? Just having pointless conversations. This is why I don't like to go out. Because it used to be fun going out when you were young. Now when you're older, what does going out mean? Well, you go to dinner with people or you go to their house. What is it? It's just fucking small talk bullshit conversation. It's like, I can't even fake it. And that's not, I wouldn't want to. What the hell is enjoyable about that? Oh my God, I can't. And walking into a diner, going up to people who are just there to eat some fucking eggs, and you want to go and talk to them. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm running for president. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing it. So I tell my advisors to go screw themselves. I'm not doing the diner circuit. Anyway, where was I going with this? So I wouldn't do that anyway. If I want to know what the people are thinking, the polls are much more accurate and focus groups and things. There's a reason that so much money is spent by candidates on those things. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Any other questions? You need to be a stand-up clown to be a president these days, Romano. And here's the thing about Trump. Fuck NBC. They gave us Trump. If Trump had not been a reality TV star, he never would have been president. Here's the thing. Here's one of the key reasons why the Republican Party was turned into a personality cult. It's because Donald Trump was a celebrity. And the reason why that's so important is that Republicans, most celebrities, most of the entertainment class, most celebrities have been Democrats. And this has been something that has really upset Republicans over the years and the decades, really. And they've been so desperate. They were so desperate to have some celebrities like them. And when Donald Trump announced for president, he was a celebrity. And finally, Republicans had a celebrity who got all this attention. And of course, the media gave him so much free advertising because they never thought he was going to actually get the nomination. And he was good for ratings. So they gave him all this free airtime. And here he is, a celebrity who was like 14 seasons on The Apprentice. He's a celebrity and he likes us. And that was one of the main draws to Trump. Am I turning into Larry David? I don't know. Maybe there's a reason I identify with so much of Larry David's commentary. Anyway, that was one of the big draws, was the fact that he was a celebrity. Donald Trump could never have happened. And this party would never have turned into a cult. He never would have gotten the nomination to begin with had he not been a celebrity. So good job, NBC. You created this fucking monster. Can Vance be impeached along with the felon? Yes, would be nice. Why do you think they keep smearing Kid Rock all over? One more time. Yeah, exactly. It's because Kid Rock is a celebrity, I guess. He's about all they have. Now they love Nicki Minaj. God, have you ever heard Nicki Minaj speak? By the way, Nicki Minaj came out and, like, figuratively deep-throated Donald Trump before Trump posted that racist video of the Obamas as apes. Hold on a second. I got to text something here. Y'all are just going to have to bear with me. Okay. Done and done. By the way, do you guys like text with your thumbs? Like the kids, they do this with their thumbs. God damn it. See, this is what I get for responding. No. Let me just do it this way. Live streaming. Actually, with just text. What? You're part of the live stream now anyway, so. All right, so you're going to be privy to this conversation, I guess. I don't. Nothing. Okay. There we go. All right, what the fuck was I talking about? Shit, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. The texting. Beep, 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 with the thumbs. I can't do it. I could barely, henpeck with my index finger. I suck at it. I wish the text-to-speech was better, too. Because it's almost worse using that when it fucks up what you said, and then you go try to edit it, and it like selects the whole text. It just pisses me off. Like I said, I suck at technology. Yeah, good job. Good idea. Let's do independent content creation since you suck so bad at technology. Yeah, brilliant move, Romano. This millennial uses her thumbs. Oh, I got a millennial. Pamela, I'm glad you're here. Oh, we got a racist in the comments. Oh, that's nice. I don't know how to block people, but whatever. What else? Anything else? Where was I going with this? Any other questions? Almost at the end of my time here, if you know what I mean. By the way, you guys, you do subscribe to my other two channels, right? I hope so. Because that's where most of my content is. Anything else? Let me check one more time. Oh, Ice Barbie. That's where I was going with this. Now I remember. Now it's all clicking. I was talking about Christy fucking Nome, how she wants to run for president, and everything she does is geared to winning the Fox News primary. See, that's. I guess this is my own version of the. What does Trump call it? Ah, fuck. What does he call it? Not the swerve. Yeah, whatever. I'm back. So she does all this cosplay, and she does all the performative cruelty stuff because the Fox News audience, the weave, that's it. The Fox News audience eats that shit up, right? Why am I looking at the corner of my screen? Okay, my webcam is here. For some reason, I'm looking at the right corner of my screen. All right, sorry. You got to win the Fox News primary, and Fox News viewers. And, it's not just Fox News, it's Newsmax and all that shit. Fox News is sort of my shorthand for it all. They like the performative cruelty. They like the when she plays dress up and everything. least she thinks they do. And so that's how she's running for president right now. That's what she's doing. She's trying to win the Fox News primary. That's what they're all doing. Those who are running for president, they try to get on Fox News as much as possible. That's why, congressional committees are the way they are. The stupid performative bullshit they do when they berate a witness or something. It's so that they want to get that clip onto Fox News. And the way you get onto Fox News, the way Fox News plays your clip, the way Hannity plays a clip from you from a committee hearing, is if you're really insulting, like over the top insulting to a Democratic witness or something. This is all about, getting on Fox News. That's how you do it. Anyway, that's what Kristi Noem is doing. But if she actually thinks that she has a snowball's chance in hell of getting the nomination or becoming president, she's insane. Not going to happen. Anyway, you know who else is insane? Not going to happen? Has a better shot than Kristi Noem, admittedly. But I'll tell you who's not going to be the Republican nominee, if I had to bet on it. And in this, I would probably wager a good bit of money. But, I could be wrong. Who the fuck knows? But I doubt it. J.D. Vance. That fucker ain't going to be the Republican nominee. Not going to happen. Okay. I've hated her guts ever since I learned she killed her dog, right? What a scumbag. I'm surprised she wasn't run out of town by the dog lovers. They're all delusional. Then sadly, your comment disappeared on me already. Anything else? Will there even be a Republican nominee? Yes, there will be. I mean, unless, of course, Trump is successful in completely overthrowing the country and just turning it into a Trump dictatorship. That's obviously what he wants to do. I don't think he's going to be successful in that. And honestly, and I'm as honest as I can be, I say bring it on. This country is so fucked up right now. So people, worry, wring their hands. He's never going to leave office. Good. I hope not. I mean that sincerely. I hope he tries to hang on. I hope he doesn't leave. I hope he tries not to leave. Okay. Now, will there be a Republican nominee? If Republicans don't want to put forward a nominee, that's their business. But there's going to be a presidential election because they're held in the states, and the states are going to hold elections. Trump can't do anything to stop them. I guess maybe he could try to physically stop them. Maybe he orders the military to go into each state capital and arrest the governor and the secretary of state and try to prevent elections from being held. I say good. Go ahead. Try that. Look, if this is the direction we're going, I would rather we go in that Trump's attempt at overthrowing the country is as obvious as that. Just go full on. Order the military into every state capital to arrest the governors. Do it. I would much rather the attempted fascist takeover, this attempted dictatorship. I'd rather be it so obvious, so in our faces, rather than it be gradual. When it's gradual, nobody notices it's happening. It's the frog being boiled thing. I want everybody to not be able to deny what's going on. And even if he does that, let's bring on the revolution, baby. That's what I say. Because what do we think? I mean, look, even in the face of masked thugs in just the city of Minneapolis, did the people of Minneapolis roll over? No. They were literally murdering people in the streets, and the people of Minneapolis kept coming out in greater and greater numbers and said, fuck this. We're not taking this. And they showed up with their cell phones, and they fought back. And guess who won? The people of Minneapolis. And by the way, the people of Minneapolis should get the next Nobel Peace Prize. And wouldn't that piss off Trump? Holy crap. Trump would lose his shit. That's who they should get. The Nobel Committee should give it to. The people of Minneapolis. Anyway, look at that. People in Minneapolis didn't take that lying down. So that's why I'm like, do it. Go ahead. Try to overthrow this country by force. Try to get the military to go along with your dictatorship. Try to arrest the governors in every country. Well, every state in this country. You wouldn't need to arrest all of them. Like you wouldn't need to arrest Hot Wheels Greg Abbott in Texas, for example. He'll just go along with the dictatorship. But go ahead. You go and try to arrest governors. Go try to arrest Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker and Wes Moore and all these other Democrats. Do it. Try to prevent elections. Do it. Okay, let's bring it the fuck on. I'm sick of this shit where people don't know what's going on and it's debatable. Oh, he's not trying to be an authoritarian. He's not trying to cancel elections. He just wants voter ID. No, I want it to be so in your face so that you can't deny what's going on. Oh, he's not trying to be a dictator? Yeah, he just arrested the governor of California and said that we're not going to be a democracy anymore. We're not going to have elections. I want it so in your fucking face that you can't deny it. And let's bring on the revolution. If that's what it's going to take. You know, people say, oh, you can't vote your way out of this. Yes, we can. Will we? That's a different question. We can if we come out in overwhelming numbers. And then if Congress does the right thing, we can vote our way out of this. Will we? It doesn't look all that likely, but we can. But it may be we need a violent uprising. Maybe that's what it's going to take. Maybe it's going to take something so in your face that the people of this country rise up and say, all right, that's it. And actually take care of business ourselves. But it's going to take, hey, do you mean I can look at this? Hey, I just learned something here. Once these comments go off the screen, I can back it up. And wish I didn't suck at technology so bad. I probably could have figured that out months ago. Anyway, if that's what it's going to take, then that's what it's going to take. And I say, bring it on. So I don't worry about him doing that kind of thing. It might be what's necessary. You know, I hope, I would love the image because it would be so cleansing for this country of Donald Trump, you know, barricading himself in the bunker underneath his golden ballroom. And I say, good. I hope that happens. Cement the fucker in there. You know, I want to put, you know, closed circuit TV down there first. I want to be able to watch this fucker lose his mind in the bunker that we cement him into. I'd want to watch that. We should have that live streaming. Everyone should be able to access that live stream. So that's what I would like to see happen. Let him say, I'm not leaving. You know, January 20th, 2029, when his term expires, if he's even alive at that point. And let's face it, it's got to be at least even money that he doesn't survive that long. I'm talking health for health reasons here. I mean, he's old and sick. This is not a healthy man. So what's the chances he's even going to be above ground January 20th, 2029? But if he is, let him retreat to his bunker, his Fuhrer bunker, with his little ICE thugs guarding him or whoever. And I say we just roll into town and we cement it over, and we have we have cameras down there so we can all tap into the live feed and watch him down there in his bunker. That would be great. That would be the greatest TV ever. The entire fucking world would be constantly checking in to watch this old fucking buffoon lose his mind down there. And anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just wishful thinking, I think. Anyway, well, if Felon hides in a bunker and gets the armed forces to protect him in there when he refuses to concede. Oh, by the way, about that. So people say that all the time. Oh, he's going to be in his bunker. He's going to refuse to leave. So what? You know, being president doesn't mean you're not president just because you occupy some space. Right? Oh, he's never going to leave the White House. So what? By operation of law on January 20th, 2029, he's no longer president, whether he refuses to leave the White House or not. And just not leaving the White House isn't going to be good enough. I mean, he's going to be easy enough to drag out of there. He's going to have to, retreat to his bunker. And then, like I say, just fucking cement it over. I did. Anyway, I don't fear this. I welcome this. Any other questions? I probably have a minute or two before the bladder is completely full. What do you think JD will do when he's president? Whatever he needs to be reelected. JD Vance doesn't believe in anything. So, I don't know how much of what JD Vance does is real and says is real. I mean, he used to be a pretty normal Republican. He was anti-Trump. He referred to, he likened Trump to Hitler. It was only when he decided he wanted to run for Senate in Ohio and needed to win the Republican nomination that he decided to go on full on into authoritarianism and kissing Trump's ass. So that was all for convenience. Now, was he a normal person then and he's going to revert to being a normal person? No, he's going to do whatever he needs to in the moment to advance his political career and hold on to power. That's it. If he thinks, hey, going back to being a more normal sounding Republican is what's going to help him hold on to power, then that's what he'll do. If, ordering masked agents of the federal government to shoot more innocent people in the face in the streets, he'll do that too. He'll do whatever. He is capable of being every bit as evil as Donald Trump is. He's also capable of being a more normal kind of person. I think it's whatever he needs to be in the moment to get what he wants. So I don't know what the fuck he'll do. But it's not going to matter. How many cars do I have? You don't want to know. It doesn't matter because he's never going to be president. Well, I shouldn't say he's never going to be president. He could be president, obviously, if Trump kicks off. But that's the only way he's going to be president. He's never going to get elected president. How many cars do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit, I lost count. I'm trying to figure out where they are right now. So I got 4. I don't know, like 7 or something. I don't know. Anyway, or maybe it's a new one that makes 8. I'm not sure. We got old cars for the most part. A couple new cars that are our daily drivers, but mostly have old sort of classic cars all over the property. Any other question? First time catching a live. Well, I'm glad you are here. You're going to have to guess. Which state do I live in? That's the ongoing mystery. You're going to have to guess, but I'm not going to tell you, even if you guess right. All right, let me check one more time the news here, see if anything new has come out, because I'll be really pissed off if I end this live stream and then I find out that Donald Trump, walked out to the, onto the lawn of the White House and shit himself or something. I don't know. Nah, I'm not seeing any new news. Going back to, there's one other thing. We'll talk about this more later. But, going back to that comment about that I should be Attorney General. I wish. One of the things that I think needs to be done, there's this debate. California, I just got as a guess. Anyone thinks I'm from California? Oh, there's a New York. Oh, Alabama. I don't know if that was a guess. You don't really think I'm in Alabama, do you? Maybe the cars scattered all over the yard. Maybe that's an Alabama thing. Anyway, yeah, but they're not all dilapidated. They run, and they're nice for the most part. Some of them are in the process of becoming nice. One's an absolute fucking shitbox right now, but it's the one I'm most excited about. Oh, can't wait till that car's done. Anyway, oh yeah, there's a debate ongoing of what to do if we ever get back in power and we can hold these people to account. Should we, or should we let bygones be bygones? Should we move on, and should we not, I hate when it's framed as revenge or retribution. That's not what it's about. It's about accountability. And it's about making sure that this shit never happens again. I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago with David Frum and David Brooks. David Brooks was of the opinion that we should just move on. And, if a Democrat wins and becomes president in 2029, that we should just move on. We really shouldn't try to prosecute anybody, that we should move on as a country and heal, blah, 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 kumbaya, kiss my ass. David Frum didn't seem to be buying that. He's of the opinion there needs to be consequences. And I am firmly in that camp, probably much more to a much greater degree than David Frum is. We need to prosecute every one of these motherfuckers to the fullest extent of the law. And this is why this goes back to why, again, I don't know much about Tallarico versus Jasmine Crockett, but just the way I hear Jasmine Crockett talk, she sounds like she'd be let's burn these fuckers at the stake. She seems to be that she'd be on board with prosecuting these people. Not that she'd really, as a member of Congress, have a say, but she can, if we take back control of Congress, she'd have a vote on convicting these people in a Senate impeachment trial. But anyway, there absolutely needs to be, we need to punish every one of these people, including Donald Trump, to the fullest extent of the law. And what I think there needs to be, and I've been thinking about this, I'm still fleshing it out. Not that it matters, because nobody listens to me in terms of actually, other than you all, of course. But, no one in positions of authority listen to me. But what I think we should do, Congress can create courts. What I think we should do is we should create, because all these fuckers need to be prosecuted. There should be a task force, and there should be a joint federal state task force. You know what? Maybe I'm going to flush out this idea, and maybe if you guys help me grow these platforms big enough, especially the Romano Report, it's far bigger than this channel. If I can get enough, this is why I want to grow my channels as much as possible. If you have a big enough audience, you can get people on your show. You could get people to listen to you. That's why I want to grow as big as I can, to actually be able to make some kind of a difference. So I'm going to think through this shit. And then I'm going to try to pressure politicians, if I can, to do some of this stuff. But here's what I think should happen. We shouldn't just do this fucking same old bullshit. Okay, first of all, we don't do the Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, let's just move on bullshit. This is what happens. Okay, and that it came from the top. I'm so sick and fucking tired of people giving Joe Biden a pass and just blaming it all on Merrick Garland. This is Joe Biden more than Merrick Garland. Joe Biden, we didn't elect Merrick Garland. We elected Joe Biden. Okay, he swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Okay? Maybe that's not what he ran on, but after January 6th happened, it became his number one job, in my opinion, to protect this country against another fascist takeover or attempted fascist takeover of this country. He didn't, and now look at what we have. He did the let's just move on, Donald Trump is in the rearview mirror approach. One of the worst fucking mistakes of any president in American history. And I am so sick of hearing Democrats give him a pass. Who was Merrick Garland? Who was Merrick Garland's boss? Who hired Merrick Garland? Who could have fired Merrick Garland at any time? Who could have appointed a special prosecutor on his own without Merrick Garland? Joe Biden. He could have said, you know what? I'm not going to direct any investigation or prosecution, but I'm going to appoint a special counsel on day one. Could have done that. Then he could have just been hands off. And if he had done that, Donald Trump would be sitting in federal prison right now, but he didn't. Anyway, that approach, no. Hell fucking no. And even if we have a president in January 2025 who is all for holding these people accountable, which I hope so, just doing it through the normal processes of the Justice Department isn't enough. And also, Donald Trump might have pardoned a bunch of people, including himself, on the way out. Now, that'll have to be litigated because I don't think self-pardons are constitutional. And I think a majority of the scholars on this subject would tell you not constitutional. That doesn't mean the Supreme Court won't say it's constitutional, but we should test it anyway. But and you test it by prosecuting Trump. You test it. by indicting him. So if he pardons himself, the next president shouldn't say, oh, well, he pardoned himself. Fuck that. No, you indict his ass and then let him raise the pardon as a defense at his trial. That's how it works. You indict him and then, or it wouldn't get to trial, it would be adjudicated before trial, but you indict him, then he files a motion to dismiss based on his self-pardon. And then then that gets litigated and goes up to the Supreme Court. I'm sure the Supreme Court would weigh in on that, whether or not a president can self-pardon. Okay. Anyway, you test it by indicting him. So anyway, we could be dealing with pardons, but there's not just been federal crimes. There have been lots of state crimes committed by this administration. What we need is on day one, and he should do it in his or her inaugural address, is to say that they are creating a task force in the Department of Justice, or they're going to order their attorney general to create a task force for the sole purpose of holding all these fascists from the Trump regime responsible for whatever crimes they committed. That there will be a full investigation, and the joint task force would be between the Department of Justice, federal prosecutors, and states, state attorneys general, or whoever the states want to send to be part of this task force. It needs to be a coordinated effort between federal prosecutors and state prosecutors to hold these fuckers accountable. And on top of that, we should have Congress. The president should also say, I'm submitting a bill to Congress to create a new court system in the United States. You could create a new court. We have all kinds of specialty courts. We have a tax court. We have all different kinds of courts. These tariffs went through the tax court. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, or tariff court, or whatever, International Commerce Court, I don't know what it's called, but it went through there, and then up to the Supreme Court. We have specialty courts. And Congress can create courts. He or she should call on Congress, submit a bill to Congress to create a new court for any of these prosecutions to be tried in. And you can have judges selected. And so the point is, these cases could be streamlined. You don't have to go through the current court system. You can have courts set up specifically to adjudicate cases where we prosecute these fucking fascists of the Trump regime. You've heard people talk about Nuremberg style trials. That's sort of what we should do here. We should create a court system to deal with this, and a joint task force between the feds and the states to hold these people accountable, not just through prosecuting them at the federal level, but especially if there's pardons issued by Trump, prosecuting them at the state level if they've committed crimes in any of the states. And there have been a lot of state crimes committed, and Trump can't pardon anyone for those crimes. That's what I think should happen. And so, have you heard anyone say anything like this? No, because most people that you hear don't actually understand this stuff very well, and they don't think about this stuff. They don't think things through. They don't think outside the box. Everything is just cookie cutter, the same way everything's always been done. Fuck that. We need to do things differently. And then to say nothing of all the reforms we should put in place, constitutional amendments we should push through, and all that stuff. Just speaking about holding these fuckers accountable, that's what we should do. And if you guys help me grow this channel, maybe not this particular one, but I'm thinking more about the Romano Report. What I would love to do is have the channel be big enough where I can call up some of these politicians and say, please come on my show. And when they come on my show, I'm not going to ask them stupid little softball questions like most other people do. I'm going to fucking hold these people to account. You're not coming on here just to give me your same campaign bullshit. And if you don't come on here, I'm going to call your ass out too. So you better come on. I wish I was in a position to be able to do that. And when they're on there, I would say point blank, okay, you're running for president. What is your position on holding Trump and all of his people accountable for their crimes? And if they say anything other than every goddamn one of them needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, they say anything other than that, then I am fucking raking their ass over the coals. And I'll go, okay, that's it. You're not getting my endorsement, and I'm going to actively campaign against your ass now. Fuck that. There needs to be full accountability, not for revenge, but these people need to pay for the crimes they committed against the American people and to prevent this from happening ever again in the future. If there's no consequences, what's to prevent people from trying this again? If we just move on, then would-be dictators in the future will tell themselves, why not try? Nothing. If I try and fail, nothing's going to happen to me anyway. I mean, look what Joe Biden didn't do shit. And then the next Democratic president, didn't do shit either. So why not try it? All we're going to be doing is encouraging this in the future if we don't hold these people accountable. You want them to say, you know what? It's not worth it. Look what happened to Trump and all his people. They went to prison for the rest of their lives. Forget it. I ain't trying it. That's why you do it. But I want to bring these politicians on and hold their feet to the fire. And I want to put forward some of these ideas. Say, hey, what about this? You know, you could have Congress create a new court, a specialty court just for adjudicating these prosecutions against these fucking Trump regime fascists. What do you think about that idea? What do you think about a joint federal task force? Don't just tell me you're going to have your attorney general investigate it. There needs to be a systematic way that your DOJ will cooperate with the states to make sure that state laws are enforced, that you're cooperating. There's a joint cooperation going on here. What do you think about that idea? And no, that ain't going to be good enough. If you're not smart enough to think this through on the fly, you're not smart enough to be president. So I brought this idea up to you just now. What do you think about it? You know, what exact steps are you going to do? Are you going to take to prosecute these people and hold them accountable? Don't give me general fucking pap. I want specifics. How are you going to take Donald? How are you going to prosecute Donald Trump when he leaves office? Oh, well, you know, presidential immunity. And then I'll say, okay, do you even understand that decision? Because it sounds like you don't. Because that'll be the excuse for the next president. If they don't want to go after Trump to say, oh, well, the Supreme Court gave him immunity. No, they didn't give him blanket immunity that would bar you prosecuting him. They gave him limited immunity, presumptive immunity for certain things. They gave him absolute immunity for core constitutional functions. They gave him presumptive limited immunity for official acts. So even things that are official acts of a president can still be prosecuted if you overcome a presumption as the court laid out. So it's possible even for official acts to prosecute him and put him in prison. But he gets absolutely no immunity for things that are not official acts of the president, and he has committed a lot of those crimes. Like extorting other countries to let him build his fucking golf courses, or to buy up his crypto bullshit, or to put money directly into his pocket, or to taking bribes. Oh, you gave me a $400 million plane? Let me green light selling AI chips to your country, or whatever the hell. These are straight up bribes. These are crimes. These are not official acts. So if I had a politician on running for president, wanting the Democratic nomination, and I bring up prosecuting Trump, and they go, oh, well, he's got immunity. No, that answer ain't flying with me. And we're going to talk about the immunity decision. I'm going to see if you even understand anything about it. And if you don't, then you shouldn't be fucking president. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you don't get the nomination, because we don't need another fucking milquetoast pussy like that becoming president. We need somebody who understands this shit, and we need somebody who's going to do everything they can and understands the law and will use it against Donald Trump and all of his fascist thugs to put their asses in prison. And if you're not going to do that, then I'm going to fucking do everything I can to make sure you don't get the nomination. So anyway, maybe we'll get there. Maybe you guys help me grow this channel and I can do that. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, I'd love that. Anyway, all right, that's it for now. I really got to piss. So I will tell you this. I lasted a lot longer than I thought I would. Usually when I'm on my second cup of coffee, I'm up every 10 minutes. So Well done, Romano. You hung in there. So, anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I promise I'll try to do this more frequently. I know I say this every time and it doesn't usually work out that way, but I'm really wanting to. So, hopefully, it happens. Anyway, that's it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Don't know when we'll do this again. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Hey, maybe later this afternoon. I don't know what the hell I'm doing today. So, we'll see. Anyway, that's it. I'm really out. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.